Oh, everyone, we're back. We're back. It's Friday. We have reached the weekend once again. I've been a little bit under the weather over the last few days, but I'm fighting fit. Hamish is back. Ange is back. And Celtic are back. Now, you will probably only care for two of those things, but all three are true. It is Friday, and we've got a Celtic game to look forward to this weekend. Yes. Yes, there is something very reassuring about hearing Ange Postecoglou's voice on a Friday afternoon. I don't know how we all coped last Friday with no Ange dose, but we do have it today. He had his press conference today, the first time we've heard him since probably after the Hibs game. He didn't do any Celtic TV interviews over the international break. Sorry, that's a complete lie. He did one on leadership, but it wasn't anything really to do with the current team. It was very much an international break kind of video. But we've heard them today speaking about current matters. I've purposely held off recording this video until after we had the press conference. I could have a look at what Ange was saying, injury updates and all of that. The injury update was the kind of main crux of the press conference, I would say. I think it was actually question 3 when he was asked for an update, a much needed injury update, let's just say, after all the conjecture over the last 10 days or so. The update is this. Now, James Forrest, who I'd actually forgotten was injured, Ange says is still a fair bit off. That's the quote from Ange. Anthony Ralston and Liel Abada picked up injuries while away on international duty. Remember, both left the Scotland and Israel camps early to return back to Celtic. Ange says both will be a couple of weeks. And with Derby coming up in less than 8 days, I think we can probably say that neither Ralston or Abada will be fit for that, which is disappointing. Obviously, it'd be nice to have both there, but neither of them have really been regulars, starters for us since the World Cup. So, these things happen. We'll soldier on. Little bit of confusion here about Tomoki Iwata and Reo Hatate's fitness for Sunday. Now, Ange did an interview with Sky Sports earlier in the day where he mentioned Aaron Moy and Tomoki Iwata being touch and go for Sunday. So in his press conference, probably an hour or so later, Ange then seemed to suggest that it was Aaron Moy and Reo Hatate who that applied to. He didn't even mention Iwata at all in his injury update. So has Ange made a mistake here? Possibly for the first time since touching down in Scotland? Is he just trying to bamboozle the opposition and me, poor me? I kind of think that maybe, I'd say most likely, given the kind of videos we've seen of training earlier in the week and even the photos from training today where Tomoki Iwata is very present and involved and Reo Hatate is nowhere to be seen, I would suggest that it is Iwata who is fully fit and ready to go, and it's Moy and Hatate who are touch and go for the weekend. And perhaps Ange just said Iwata when he really meant to say Hatate. I mean, they're both Japanese and they both have similar Ate kind of surnames. Yeah. Ange did also say that everyone else was okay, so that must include Cameron Carter-Vickers, Greg Taylor, who there kind of were no real doubts over anyway. They just didn't play for their countries over the break. But Daizen Maeda as well seems to be fit and ready to go, which is good. I think there's a chance he starts on Sunday. In fact, let's just see my predicted 11, shall we? So, I'm going as if Tomoki Iwata is fit for this, and I'm going with Joe Hart in goal, back four of Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Carl Starfelt and Gregory Taylor. And I'm going for Tomoki Iwata to get his first start for Celtic, with Callum McGregor moved one up alongside Matt O'Reilly. Suddenly that midfield looks a wee bit different, given that you're missing Hatate, Moy. Anyone else? No. I think it's just those two, but two regular members of that. It looks a little bit different, but still pretty strong. I know people might look at Turnbull and think he might start with McGregor playing in his normal position. That could well happen. I just get the impression Ange really likes Iwata, and if he is indeed fit, seems like a good game to give him a debut in. So that's the midfield, and the front three kind of unchanged. Jota on the right, Maeda on the left, and Kyogo through the middle. So off the bench, off the top of my head, you still have Haksabanovic, Turnbull, possibly a few other players in there as well. As I say, suddenly just a wee bit, don't quite have the same options off the bench, but you've got to remember we are possibly going to be missing, 4, 5, 6 players for the weekend, and Ange has built a squad here where we can kind of get through that. So I don't think any real doubts over the team being able to win this game on Sunday or even hit that top level of performance, and I'm actually quite excited maybe to see a few different players featuring. County are in a bit of a relegation dogfight, as the tabloids would let you know. 4 defeats from their last 5. They're sitting in 11th. It is probably going to be between them, Kilmarnock in 10th, and Dundee United at the foot of the table, playing off for the automatic relegation, which is bottom place, and the 11th placed playoff position. So points are much needed for County. In terms of our record up there, and it is very north, all the way up north to the Highlands, which by Scottish standards is a fair trek. We have played there 4 times under Ange. We've won all 4, but maybe some of the scorelines have looked a little bit more flattering than they felt. It's kind of been a bit touch and go, which seems to be the kind of buzz phrase today at times when we've been up there. We, of course, had the ultimate smash and grab game, which was Anthony Ralston game, when he struck in, I think, the 174th minute of that match to win. And we were really running on empty that night. I think we started with, what was the front three? Juranovic, right wing, Adam Montgomery left wing, and Lee Alabada through the middle. Yeah. Elsewhere, we had a 2-0 win there in April with Jota striking a late clincher at the back post. We had a 3-1 win there at the start of this season. Again, that looks much comfier than it was. 2 very late goals in that match. Moritz Jens on his debut, I seem to remember, certainly his first start, and a cracker from Lee Alabada. And we won 4-1 there in the League Cup earlier this season too. Really good performance and win that night. I think that was the point where we were really kind of finding our groove. It arrived a few days after 9-0 at Tannadice, I believe, and a few days before 4-0 at home to Rangers. So that was a really good point in the season, although we're not playing too badly kind of now and throughout the campaign. It's a funny place to go. It is so far away in Scottish terms, all the way up in the Highlands. A tight wee ground, but one with plenty of atmosphere when the Celtic end is rocking, and hopefully that is the case on Sunday. You just kind of expect this team to get the job done at this stage, regardless of when the match is taking place, who it's against, where it is. You just feel that the team will be up for it. It's just like, and this may be what Ange is going for, it probably is, but it's almost as if the team is genuinely motivated by more than just winning the game. It really is almost as if they're in a battle with themselves to try and find the elite level of performance. Having said that, first game back after international breaks, we don't always see the free-flowing Ange ball, if you want to, use that phrase. I think, thinking back, post-World Cup, first game back, Pittodrie, yeah, it was against a really stuffy Aberdeen, but we didn't really get going in that game. Got a late goal from Callum McGregor to win it. I think back, Motherwell at home was another one after an international break at the start of this season. We kind of faltered to a 2-1 win that day, Rio Hatate scoring a screamer. So, yeah, maybe first game back, it doesn't always tend to click. I'd love for it to properly click on Sunday and us to get a real big victory. I kind of feel like it may be not quite as glamorous as that. It may be something like 2-0, which I think we'd all settle for right now. It just doesn't really strike me Dingwall is a ground where you go and play your absolute best stuff and win, 4-5-0. But again, I'll happily be wrong in terms of that. 2-0 would probably be my official prediction for Sunday, which almost certainly won't come true. The officials for Sunday, referee is Willie Collum. Assistant referees, Jonathan Bell and Stephen Traynor. Fourth official is Mike Runcone. VAR is Stephen Kirkland, and assistant VAR is David Room. Now, Sunday is match day 30 of the Premiership season, so we have got just 4 more games to go before we're into the split. And today, the SPFL have released some information regarding the post-split dates. So just so you've got these in mind, this is our next 5 fixtures. The only 5 that we have confirmed right now as far as Celtic are concerned. 4 of them on television there, as you can see, starting on Sunday in Dingwall against Ross County. We then get the derby following week. These are all weekend fixtures, separated by a week. We then go to Rugby Park, live and Sky, face Motherwell at home, and then have the big semi-final against Rangers at the end of the month, live on Viaplay. After that, we will go into the split. The dates are going to be as follows. So round 34, weekend of May the 6th and 7th. Round 35, weekend of May the 13th and 14th. Round 36, weekend of May 20th, 21st. Round 37, midweek of May 23rd, 24th, when we won the league last year at Tannadice. And the final round of the season, we have a definitive date and time for it. It'll be on the Saturday, so the 27th of May, and the game, which will hopefully be Trophy Day at Celtic Park, will kick off at 12:30pm. The Scottish Cup final, if we get there, would then be on Saturday the 3rd of June. So yeah, only one more midweek game to come this season. All weekend stuff apart for that. The SPFL also say post-split fixtures and TV selections are likely to be published in the week commencing Monday, April the 24th. However, the SPFL will look to announce these earlier if the top 6 is confirmed prior to fixture round 33 on the weekend of April the 22nd and the 23rd. As it stands at the moment, the 5 other teams who make up the top 6, so as it stands, that's Rangers, Hearts, Aberdeen, Hibs and Livingston, are all due another home game against us after the split. So those 5 teams have all been to Celtic Park twice, or certainly will have by the time we get to the split, which is kind of bad planning from the SPFL. We will be guaranteed 2 home matches after the split, so fixtures will be reversed if needs be. Certainly wouldn't expect the derby to be reversed though. So we've got all of this to look forward to. Really kind of into the home straight now. I mean, Celtic have either 10 or 11 matches left this season. There's really not a long way to go, but there's going to be 3 derbies in there. Fair chance there's a game where we win the league, and there's a fair chance there's a trophy day as well, and possibly even a Scottish Cup final as well. So there are not too many games to come, but they're all going to be really exciting. We also had Jota reacting to Henrik Larsson's iconic chip against Rangers. Was it a chip? Was it a lob? I'd say it was more of a chip. I think it was a lob if it's in the air when you hit it, isn't it? But Jota commenting on that. We had Joe Hart looking back at Nakamura's famous free kick against Man United. And we had Daisen Maeda giving his thoughts on Amido Baldi's famous 40-yard run and finish against Partick Thistle. Only 2 of those actually happened, and I'll let you work out what one that is. But a nice touch from Celtic. They have no idea why clubs haven't thought of that before. There's something really beautiful about seeing the worlds of the current Celtic and the former Celtic colliding, and maybe we'll see more kind of stuff, people commentating on old games and that kind of thing. That's certainly what I would be doing if I worked at Celtic, because the fans love it, and I think that's kind of us to do with Celtic. And one other thing I promised I'd give a shout out for, did an interview with a guy called Kieran Burns earlier in the week. He hosts the All About Ability podcast, which sadly took a real dive this week when they had me on for a chat with him. Not quite as much of a dive as when John from 67 Hill Hale was on at the start of the season, but clearly the reputation of that podcast is in tatters. But the video is linked above if you want to, for whatever reason, see me and Kieran chatting a bit about Celtic, more generally than we do sometimes on this channel, a wee bit about the channel as well, how I came to do it and all of that kind of stuff. Kieran's a brilliant guy, and he's had some great guests on his channel recently as well, so check all of his stuff out and give him a wee sub if you don't mind. In terms of us this weekend, I am preoccupied this weekend, so luckily for you, we're going to have John and Asim doing the reaction post-match on Sunday. Please be nice to them. I will see you on Monday.